Okay, looks like we're live. How's it going, everybody? Chuck Holton here, and it is time for me to clean up my desktop a little bit. Been running around all day making news, as you can imagine. And where's my chat box? Streaming chat. There it is. All right. So, if you can, okay, so you can hear me good. Good. All right. I wanted to show you the skyline here of Jerusalem so that you could tell that right now nothing's happening. We have been continuously warned all day, all week, for the last more than a week. And we've been told that there's going to be a massive retaliatory attack. And it hasn't come. And now we are going into, tonight will be the beginning of Tisha B'Av, which is the Jewish commemoration of lamentations, tragedies that have happened to the Jewish people throughout its history. It's a very somber time here. A lot of people not out on the streets. A lot of the restaurants are closed. They are just, this is a very quiet, very subdued time. And we are being told that the Iranian IRGC has moved missiles into position to fire. Now the IRGC claims that they are just training. They're doing training exercises in western Iran. That's exactly what Russia said before they invaded Ukraine. So obviously they're saying that so that they can kind of try to take a preemptive strike off the table by Israel. But if something is going to happen, it's going to happen tonight. That's just my best guess. I've talked about this on the other lives that we've done over the past few days, but Iran's window is closing. The United States is moving a lot of military hardware into the region that can strike at Iran or at least shoot down the missiles. And so we are waiting to see what happens. What I'm going to do, my plan is, after this live, I'm just going to be on for just a little bit, and then, because really there's not a lot to tell you right now. What I wanted to do was get on here and show you that it's not panic in the streets, it's not chaos, it's actually very quiet right now, and people are just sort of hunkering down. I guess at the Western Wall, they'll have some sort of ceremony tonight where they read Lamentations and that sort of thing. But I wanted to show this to you, and what I'm going to do is, after I get off of this live, I'm going to go over to my channel, The Hot Zone with Chuck Holton, here on YouTube, and I'm going to point the camera at the skyline, and I'm just going to let it run. And I'm just going to, you can just keep it up in the background, and if the alarms start going off, if missiles start coming in, if anything happens, you'll be able to see it in real time from right here in Jerusalem. And if that happens, of course, I'll come back on and, we'll talk about it. But at least you will have up to the second information about what's happening. Thank you, One Tired Mom. I appreciate that. Now, I'll go through a few things that have been just the most recent news here. There's a press conference in about 10 minutes from IDF spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari. Jewish breaking news just posted that, where'd it go? Right now, movement of IAF fighter jets across Israel preparing for an attack. The assessment today is that an Iranian attack is expected in the immediate time frame. Iran and Hezbollah have begun preparations to strike. Let's see, where did that other one go? Breaking news. Iran has taken significant preparatory steps in its missile and drone units, similar to those it took before the attack in April, Israeli and U.S. officials tell Axios. It would kind of make you wonder why Israel, if they are watching them do that, why don't they just go hit those things? Why don't they have IAF aircraft just like circling over Iraq right now, just watching and waiting to just pound those missile launchers? Maybe they do, I don't know. But it is clear that Iran is making plans and that they are setting up for a major attack. Hezbollah, might be a little harder to see because they're talking about much shorter range missiles, and but I'm sure that Israel is watching them very closely as well. They've got a lot of troops up there in the north. They've got they've been increasing numbers of anti-missile defenses up there. They've been training their troops for quite some time, and they are as ready as they're going to be. Now, I had a chance today to go to Tel Aviv and to interview the chief of staff from an organization called Magen David Adom. Magen David Adom. I know it's hard for me to say, certainly hard for me to remember. I got to put a Post-it note on my camera here so that I can remember the name of this thing. Magen David Adom is the equivalent in Israel of like the Red Cross or Red Crescent. They are the emergency services of Israel. And the guy that I got to meet was named Udi Shacham. Udi Shacham. Really great guy, super friendly folks. I didn't get any of this, you know, when you go some places and you go talk to military or first responders or police, sometimes you get this kind of wall that they put. You know, they really would rather you not be there. These guys were super welcoming and very helpful, knocked out a great interview. And what I'm going to do is over on my channel at some point, I'll put the entire interview up unedited so you can hear the whole 20-minute interview. And because it's really good. And I want to talk about some of the things that Udi told me today, starting with, you know, I asked him, what kind of preparations are you guys making for these potential attacks? And he said, we have not only been stockpiling first aid supplies all over the country, we have teams that are already pre-deployed all over the country. They have more than 1,500 ambulances. They've got a ton of motorcycle ambulances that help them get to the scene of an accident or something very quickly. I see them go by all the time here. As a matter of fact, you probably hear them go by all the time if you're watching my lives, as almost every time I do a live, there are ambulances that go by, and they're all from Magen David Adom. I'm just going to call them MDA for short. So these MDA ambulances, they not only have the 1,500 ambulances, they've got hundreds of motorcycles, they've got 5 helicopters, and they've even got boats for like the Sea of Galilee and places like that in case there's somebody that needs rescued out there. So they are not only the emergency services and blood bank of Israel, they also do the search and rescue function for Israel. And they have more than 30,000 volunteers who work with them and about 3,500 paid employees. So you're talking about 33,500 people spread all across the country. They take more than 5,000 calls a day for emergencies around the country. And so not only have they pre-deployed their ambulances and people all across the country to be ready for this attack, but they've also stockpiled food and fuel and even generators all across the country, because they want to be prepared for the eventuality that there's so much damage that you can't get around the country easily. So amazing people, very well prepared. I got to go into their nerve center where they have, oh gosh, dozens of dispatchers taking calls from all around the country. This isn't the only nerve center. Everything is like double backed up. So he told me that, like when that CrowdStrike problem happened last week, where the Microsoft bug sort of crashed everyone's systems, these guys were able to immediately get back online by going to their backups and just reloading their backups, because they had those ready. So even though that's not why they had backed them up, they came in handy and they were able to keep right on rocking. They also have multiple dispatch centers all around the country, and their goal is to pick up the phone within 5 seconds of you calling. If you're in trouble, you call the equivalent of 911 in Israel, you're going to get a real human being on the phone within 5 seconds. And not only that, this is the most amazing part. This is crazy. I was like, had my mouth on the floor, my jaw on the floor when he said this. But he said, our system is all networked, and our database has an artificial intelligence component to it with machine learning that has analyzed all of our 5,000 calls a day since we put this in, and it has gotten to the point where it can predict where the next call is going to come from. Now, listen to what I'm saying here. Before they get a 911 call, they have separated the country up into little sections. He called them pentagons, and they have the whole country separated up into these small pentagons of area, and their system is so smart that it tells them before somebody calls 911 where they should expect the next 911 call to come from. And so they go ahead and pre-deploy an ambulance to that area so that it can be closer to where the potential call might come from. Now, think about how crazy that is. This machine learning is so smart. It's like, when you start thinking about, gosh, I should really take my wife on a vacation because it's been a while, and you don't even say anything about it, but you get on social media and all of a sudden you start seeing ads for Aruba and vacations. Like, how did it know? It just knows people so well, because it has such a large data set to comb through, that it knows that now's about the time that you ought to be thinking about taking your wife on a vacation, and it starts showing you ads for vacations. It's creepy, to tell you the truth, but in this case, it's pretty awesome, because these guys can actually have an ambulance on the way to your area before you call 911. Now, what's next? Does the AI, is it going to start saying, hey, go out there and stop traffic on this road because there's about to be an accident out there on that road? I don't know, but pretty scary stuff. This is a brave new world we're in. So, looks like we just, our bit rate is a little bit low. I'm just checking to make sure you can still hear me. Are we still good? Everybody, you guys still got me? Or is it? Okay. things are counting down here in Israel, and Miracles Happen says they definitely have me worked out. Yeah, me too. I mean, it's amazing. Like, I will just I'll be thinking about something, and next thing you know, there's an ad up there for it. I can't quite get my head around how they know, how the computer can be that smart that it can figure out what I'm actually thinking about. I haven't mentioned it to anybody. I've just been sort of, like, oh, and next thing you know, there's an ad. And the crazy thing is, a lot of times those ads are actually useful, and I actually end up buying things off of those ads. As a matter of fact, this shirt I bought off of a Facebook ad or something, where I was, I think, talking to somebody about the fact that, I travel so much, and I really would like to just switch out all my socks for wool socks, because wool socks just don't smell. You could wear a pair of wool socks for a week and they're not going to smell. And so I'm going to just start carrying only wool socks with me from now on, and I won't have to carry quite as many socks. And I said, man, I should just get wool everything, because then I wouldn't have to worry about deodorant anymore. And kind of half joking, and next thing you know, here comes an ad for wool shirts, and this shirt is 100% merino wool, and so I think it's 100%. I don't know. It's merino wool anyway, and so I was like, well, there you go. So I bought that shirt. So the guys from MDA have figured out a way to make use of artificial intelligence in a way that allows them to respond to emergencies faster, and that's a great thing. I think that's a great thing. Somebody said, James says, demonic stuff, and this man thinks it's a good thing. I don't know how you could say that just because a computer has a mountain of data and can sift through that data and figure out things that our human brains can't figure out because we can't take in that much data. I'm not sure how you can see that as demonic. It certainly can be used for bad things, but it can be used for good things as well. And this is a situation where it is being used for something good. And there were people back in the day that thought electricity was demonic. There were people, I took my drone out to the jungles of Panama to a primitive tribe that still lives out there, kind of like they did 1,000 years ago, dug out canoes and loincloths and spears and stuff. And I flew my drone out there, and you can bet they thought that was some kind of, wizardry. And they started calling me El Aguila, the eagle, because every time I showed up, they knew that I had that flying drone. So technology is technology. This is a way that they're using it in a positive way, and I think that's a good thing. So I'm not going to get my undies in a wad about that. There's plenty of things to get your undies in a wad about. I don't think that's one of them, okay? Brian G says, I missed the start of the live. Can I find out when to catch you at the beginning? Well, Brian, what you got to do is you've got to go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then hit that notification bell and actually allow them to notify you ahead of time. And then we usually schedule the live a half hour to an hour early, and that way people can get the notification, have time to get things arranged, and get on the live when we start. Otherwise, if you won't allow the notifications, then there's not really any way for you to do it, because we don't go live on a particular schedule. We go live whenever there's something to talk about, or whenever we can fit it in around our other duties here at CBN and on my channel as well. Okay, so I thought I saw another question here. I'm English. We can't tweet anything anymore, so the ad bot suggests nooses and pitchforks. Oh, wow. That's great. Thank you for the kind words. Some of that is confirmation bias. Yeah, it could be Roscoe. Could be confirmation bias, but some of it is just plain, I mean, you know, like you say, it could be like, I bought a green Honda and now I see green Hondas everywhere. Could be that. But in many cases, it's been proven that your phone is listening to you and is definitely advertising to you. If you look in the very voluminous, like Facebook terms and conditions, it allows them to use your microphone on your phone to listen to you even when you're not on Facebook, and then serve you up ads, which is, I don't think that's a great thing. I'm not really happy about that. So sometimes I will just say really weird things to my phone just to kind of throw it off, like, let's go get some deviled eggs, or I need to paint my head blue, you know, something like that. Because, oh, okay, Chris Mitchell's texting me. He's, you can see him right there. Let's see if I can get out of the way. There's Chris Mitchell is right, where is it? Right there on his balcony doing a live pre-tape right now with someone else. So like I said, we've been very busy today. Lots of, you know, sort of getting ready for this and, you know, wondering whether or not there's going to be an attack. It appears now, just going over what I've already talked about for those of you that are just joining us, that it looks like we will see an attack in the very near future, probably tonight, or at least within the next 24 hours. I would imagine that they would want to attack at night. And Israel has said if there are civilian casualties, Iran can expect a very harsh response from Israel, and Israel is prepared to go on the offensive in this. So the army is on high alert, the people are on high alert, the missile forces are on high alert, the air force is on high alert, the fish in the Sea of Galilee are on high alert, everybody's on high alert. We've been that way for some time. We're just kind of at this point saying, okay, I wish they'd either cook or get out of the kitchen here. You know, either back up what you're talking about or quit talking. Now, there have been several attacks in the last 24 hours. There were, in the last night, about this time last night, or a little later, I guess, they had 30 rockets fired from Lebanon into Israel, in near the, like, Haifa, that area. Nahariya is the city just north of Haifa. And some of them were shot down, some of them landed in unpopulated areas. There were no injuries reported from those strikes. Here in Israel, we just call that Monday. But the thing is that since they've been threatening these major strikes, everybody's been kind of on pins and needles. And so whenever you get that alert on your Shofar app, you start to go, you know, everybody starts watching and counting, like one attack, you know, 1 rocket, 2 rockets, 3 rockets. Is this the big one? And as it turned out, it's not. This is the area where they attacked last night. That's, again, right along the waterfront just north of Haifa. So that's where we are. Roll your rapture rug up, okay? Question, are you close to where these missiles are supposed to be dropping? One tired mama, no, I mean, I'm in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is probably, and especially since just right over there is the Temple Mount, that's probably the last place that they're going to target, because you can imagine the blowback from the rest of the Muslim world, especially, well, the rest of the Muslim world, if Iran accidentally blew up the Temple Mount. And I'm only about a kilometer from the Temple Mount, so I'm within the margin of error for Iran's rockets. So I wouldn't say I'm in a lot of danger. That's why if the alarms go off, I'm likely not going to... Oh, we got Beeper Guy. Can you hear him? Beeper Guy is back. He's got a new van with a different kind of beeper. First time this trip that we've seen Beeper Guy. So this is a running inside joke for those of you that have been watching my live since the beginning back in October. Every night I was out here, there's a van that comes and backs up for like 5 minutes into the parking space down there, and his little beep, 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 beep goes off. That's because this hotel that's right across from me is full of refugees from the north. So the places that are in the most danger, to answer your question, One Tired Mama, from these attacks are going to be likely Tel Aviv, any place that's in the north, really. I mean, the Hezbollah is likely to fire short and medium range rockets. So any place north of us here in Jerusalem is likely to be, targeted. Any place that's near any kind of military facility like Mount Meron. So you've seen me go and visit the town of Jish up in the north quite a bit, where the Maronite Christians live. They're right next to Mount Meron, which is a military facility, and they get targeted all the time. And so they're definitely at risk. We've seen a lot of rockets falling around Kiryat Shimona, in the Galilee, et cetera, et cetera. The rockets from Iran, I've talked a lot about how accurate or not they are. They basically can hit a target within about 2 kilometers. That is a mile or so of whatever they're aiming at. So if they're aiming at this building, I've got a pretty good chance that they're not going to hit this building. They're going to hit someplace around this building, but not this building in particular. So with that being the case, if you live within 2 kilometers of a military base or an airfield or the international airport or a water processing plant or a power substation or something like that, then yeah, you're probably at more risk. If the alarms go off here in Jerusalem, I will put on my body armor, but I'm not going to go down to the basement. I'm going to come out here on the balcony and see what I can see, and trust in God that He's still got things for me to do, right? So, question: Israel prepared for more people being internally displaced? Yes. Wonderment, they are preparing. They have already made preparations to set up refugee camps in the Negev for, they say, some people say 100,000, some people say up to 1 million people that might flee the north. Because if they have to clear out everybody in the north, remember, Hezbollah is thought to have more than 100,000 rockets and missiles. And so they don't have that many launchers. So if they were just going to do an all-out attack, they would be launching for days. And so anybody who lives up there is not going to want to, live under that, and they may be fleeing south. And if that's the case, they're going to need a place to put all those people. So they're planning camps out in the Negev. And I meant to try to get down there and see what kind of preparations they made, but I didn't have a chance. But let's pray that they don't have to go there, because you can imagine how uncomfortable it would be to be staying in a tent in the Negev, because it is very, very hot down there right now. The greatest days of God's world are on the way. Okay. We'll see God's hand move across the world. Okay. Do you think all the U.S. military in the Middle East is for show, or will they actually respond if there's an attack? They will respond. They've already said that they will, and they are prepared to do so. They did in April when that attack happened on the 13th of April. So there's two separate things. Will they respond defensively? Yes. They will fly airplanes over Jordan and Iraq, and they will shoot down missiles before they get to Israel. Will they respond offensively? That is, striking targets in Iran? Probably not. Maybe. There's a non-zero chance that they will do that. That's one of my favorite terms now, because the military has been using that a lot, and it's like, that just means that there is a small chance. There's a small chance, albeit quite small, I think, that the United States would actually strike targets inside Iran. They would leave that up to Israel. And Israel has plenty of capability there. They've got missiles, they've got planes, and they can put some hurt on Iran because their technology is that much better, and it's going to make short work out of the Iranian missile defenses, anti-aircraft defenses, and go to work on their laboratories, their technical sites, their government facilities, military facilities, airfields, and yes, nuclear facilities. And so one kind of wonders how far back in time Iran will be set if they choose to attack. Will they be pushed 10 years back technologically, 20 years back technologically? One thing that Israel will not do is aim at civilian targets, because they're not going to waste ammunition on things that don't have a military purpose. And there's no military purpose in killing civilians, because they know that most people in Iran really don't want this to happen. Most people in Iran don't want an attack on Israel. So we will see. We will see. Question: if Iran attack goes worse, what's the impact on U.S. elections in your view? That's a very good question. That's the best question I've gotten today. The impact on the U.S. election, it's all speculation, but you could see where Americans would perhaps shift a little more in their support toward Israel. But this is the thing. Iran and Hezbollah are going to play the information war game very well. And one would argue that is the thing that they've done best since this war started, is win at the information war. And so what you're going to see is Hezbollah is going to play the victim card just like Hamas did. You see Hamas all the time. Oh, Israel is striking Gaza and they're killing tens of thousands of children and they're killing. Yeah, well, number one, no, they're not. That's been proven. Number two, even if they were, it's not on Israel, because Hamas is, number one, they started this on October 7th, and then they ran and hid behind their women and children. And so any civilian deaths that happen inside Gaza are the fault of Hamas. They are right at Hamas's feet. But Hamas has done a masterful job at whipping up public sentiment against Israel, making Israel look like the aggressor here when they are defending their own country. And Hezbollah will do the exact same thing. As soon as Israel starts dropping bombs in Lebanon, I mean, they have been. Every time Israel drops bombs in Lebanon, Hezbollah talks about how many civilians were killed, how many women and children were killed, and of course, very, very few. They claim that only about 400 Hezbollah fighters were killed, and it's probably quite a bit more than that. What about the use of LoRa by the IAI? Love, you're going to have to rephrase your question, because I'm not sure what you're talking about. Why don't they accept Bitcoin for donations? Good question. Don't know. I suppose you're asking about CBN. I don't know. Maybe they should. Question, didn't we see missiles and drones exploding over the Temple Mount last time? We did, as a matter of fact. And I would venture to say that those missiles were on their way to someplace else. If you draw a line on the map, some of the missiles, if they're trying to shoot at Tel Aviv, for example, some of those missiles may fly over Jerusalem and be shot down over Jerusalem. So it's not for sure whether or not Iran was aiming at the Temple Mount. If you see something being shot down over the Temple Mount, then, well, there you go. I mean, we just, it's a good bet that they weren't actually aiming at the Temple Mount. They could still hit it, and if they do hit it, that's going to be really bad all the way around. All lies will be exposed in this time. Okay, so that's all that I've got for now. Like I said, if you go over to the Hot Zone with Chuck Holton, I will a little bit later tonight be setting up a live where I just point the camera at the skyline here in Jerusalem and let you look at the old city of Jerusalem and watch, and that way you can kind of put it on in the background and you'll know immediately if there is an attack, because you'll be able to just watch it live and see what happens. What are your thoughts on the U.S. sending a nuclear-powered submarine? That doesn't mean that they're going to shoot a nuclear missile at Iran. I mean, they could. They have nuclear bombs on the submarine, but they have lots of other missiles on the submarine. That submarine, the fact that it's nuclear-powered is not a worry. I'm not worried about that. What to expect from Israelis' laser defense shield? When will it come? And what are the implications of the Middle East conflict? Good question. They are trying to roll it out and trying to increase the timeline, get it out faster and get it set up in the north. If they had a bunch of those up there in the north, there wouldn't be a lot for them to worry about. I am supposed to go and interview the company that's making the Iron Beam sometime after tomorrow. They just wanted to wait and see what happens tonight before they agreed to a time for the interview. But so once I do that, I'll be able to give you a better idea of what the timeline is. Let's hope that they've already got several of them online, and they will be lighting up the sky like Star Wars tonight if there is an attack. Reed Rogers says, congratulations on 2 million subs. Thank you very much. We're very excited about crossing the 2 million threshold. That's all thanks to you guys. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go and do so. Hit the subscription and the notification bell, and hit that like while you're at it. Also, if you want to donate to CBN, go to cbn.com. That's the best way to do it. That way CBN can use the most of the money to help people and to keep us out in the field doing this reporting. So that's all I've got. I've got another interview here in a few minutes, so I'm going to have to run. But like I said, go over to the Hot Zone with Chuck Holton. It's just at Hot Zone Podcast. I can't type today. If you go to at Hot Zone Podcast here on YouTube, you'll find it. And you can subscribe over there. And like I said, I will be going live on my channel, the Hot Zone, here shortly after I finish this other interview I have to do, and then just let you watch. And if something happens, I'll come on, and I'll just tease one other thing. When I go live on my channel, I put up a photo on my locals page. You can go to chuckholton.com and follow me personally and all my other just extraneous stuff and pictures that I take and places that I go and articles that I think you ought to be aware of and that sort of thing. So you go to chuckholton.com, ChuckHolton, chuckholton.com, and subscribe over there. You can get access to all that stuff. But I found a drink yesterday in the grocery store where I shop here in Jerusalem, and it is ostensibly a Starbucks coffee drink, but It's in Chinese writing, and then in English it says cheese latte. That's right. You heard that right. Cheese latte. As a matter of fact, I'll show you a picture of it because I kind of went like, say what? I've never heard of a cheese latte before, but here it is. Here's the cheese latte right there. And so I put a picture of this cheese latte up on my website, and everybody was asking like, what in the world is it? And I don't know. So I went and bought one, and on my live, when I go live here in a few minutes, I'm going to try it live on the air. And so you can watch me drink my cheese latte as soon as I go live over on my channel. So I got to run. God bless you. Let's say a quick prayer and we'll be done. Lord God, we just pray for safety and peace and protection over Jerusalem. You promise in Psalm 34:7 that the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and rescues them. And so, Lord, I pray that you would send your angels to camp around Israel right now, and that the enemies of Israel would not be able to figure out how to even operate their equipment, that it would malfunction. If they're able to fire any missiles, it would fall right back on their own heads. And that Israel would see their salvation through you tonight, and they would only be able to give glory to God for what you're about to do for Israel. So, Lord, we pray that in Jesus' name, amen. All right, folks, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow or over on my channel.